Welcome, my amazing friend. Today, we travel through deserts and mountains, across empires and revolutions, into the soul of an ancient land, a place where poets once wrote to the stars and kings carved their power into stone. A country older than most civilizations, yet still burning with the fire of change. This is the story of Iran. A story filled with glory, pain, wisdom, and hope. Long before the name Iran was spoken, the world knew this land as Persia. It was not just a country. It was an idea, a vision of power, beauty, and order. Around 550 BC, a remarkable man rose from the mountains of Anshan. His name was Cyrus the Great. He was not like other kings. He didn't conquer to destroy. He conquered to unite. Cyrus built the Achaemenid Empire, the largest the world had ever seen at that time. From the Mediterranean Sea to the Indus River, his empire stretched like a dream across continents. But it was not just the size that made it special. It was his mind. He respected the cultures of the people he ruled. He freed the Jews from Babylon. He gave them the right to return home. He allowed all religions to live in peace. And in his city of Persepolis, columns rose into the sky. Walls spoke with carvings, and the heart of Persia pulsed with life. Cyrus was buried in a simple stone tomb, but his legacy was anything but simple. After him came Darius the Great, a builder of roads, canals, and laws. He created the Royal Road, stretching over 2,500 kilometers. Messages could travel across the empire in a matter of days. Persia had become more than a kingdom. It was a system, a civilization, a masterpiece of organization and tolerance. But no empire lives forever. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great came from the west. With fire and sword, he ended the Persian Empire. Persepolis was burned. The dreams seemed to vanish in smoke. Yet, the soul of Persia refused to die. For centuries, it changed hands, from the Seleucids to the Parthians to the Sassanids, who brought back Persian pride. Under the Sassanid kings, Zoroastrianism, the ancient Persian religion, flourished. Fire temples burned across the mountains. Scholars studied philosophy, medicine, and astronomy. But another wave was coming. In the 7th century, Islam entered Persia. The Arab armies defeated the Sassanids. The old order collapsed. Yet again, the land transformed. Persia became part of the Islamic world, but it did not lose itself. Instead, it gave something to Islam. Persian poets like Rumi, Hafez, and Ferdowsi used the Arabic script, but they wrote in Persian. And what they wrote touched the heavens. Ferdowsi's Shahnameh, the Book of Kings, was not just a poem. It was a resurrection. In 60,000 verses, he told the stories of ancient heroes and kings. He kept the Persian language alive during a time when Arabic ruled the courts. In the cities of Isfahan and Shiraz, knowledge flourished. Scientists like Avicenna and Al-Khwarizmi studied medicine and mathematics. They translated Greek texts and expanded them. They discovered. They dreamed. Persian architecture bloomed, domes, mosaics, and gardens. The Safavid dynasty rose in the 16th century and made Iran a Shia Muslim state, something that remains central to Iranian identity even today. Isfahan became one of the most beautiful cities on earth. Its blue-tiled mosques and wide boulevards became symbols of elegance and power. The Safavids brought stability and strength. But after their fall, Iran once again faced foreign powers and internal division. In the 19th century, the world was changing fast. Europe had industrialized. Its empires were expanding, and Iran, with its rich land and strategic location, became a target. Russia took land from the north. Britain moved in from the south. Iran was never fully colonized, but it was heavily influenced. The Qajar dynasty ruled at the time, but many felt the rulers were weak. They sold oil rights to British companies. They borrowed money. They made deals that helped foreigners more than Iranians. This created a hunger for change. In 1906, the people demanded a constitution. They wanted a parliament. They wanted rights. A constitutional revolution was born. But hopes soon clashed with power. Kings resisted. Foreign powers interfered. The dream of a free, modern Iran remained just that, a dream. In the 1920s, a new man appeared, a military officer, strong, determined, and ambitious. His name was Reza Khan. In 1925, he became Reza Shah Pahlavi, the new king of Iran. He wanted to modernize Iran. He built railways. He opened schools. He banned the veil. He sent girls to Europe to study. He wanted Iran to look like Europe, but modernization came with force. Dissent was silenced. Clerics lost power. Tribal leaders were crushed. Reza Shah admired order even if it meant fear. During World War II, both Britain and the Soviet Union invaded Iran to secure oil and supply lines. Reza Shah was forced to abdicate. His son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, took the throne. By now, oil was everything. British companies controlled most of Iran's oil. The profits went abroad. Iranians got little. This created deep anger. In 1951, a bold man became prime minister, Mohammad Mossadegh. He nationalized the oil industry. For the first time, Iran said, "Our oil is ours." But this move angered Britain and the United States. In 1953, with the help of the CIA and British intelligence, a coup was carried out. Mossadegh was removed. The Shah returned with even more power. But now, many Iranians felt their country was no longer free. In the 1960s, the Shah began the White Revolution. It was a series of reforms. Land was given to peasants. Women were allowed to vote. Education improved. The economy grew. Cities modernized. But with growth came inequality. Rich families lived in luxury while the poor struggled. And the Shah ruled with a heavy hand. Political parties were banned. Secret police watched everyone. Fear grew. One voice rose in the shadows. A religious leader in exile. His name was Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. He spoke of justice, of Islam, of returning to spiritual values. His voice echoed across mosques and cassette tapes. The people listened. In 1979, everything exploded. Protests filled the streets. The Shah fled the country, and Khomeini returned. Millions welcomed him. Iran became an Islamic republic. The monarchy was gone. The constitution was rewritten. Islamic law was now the law of the land. Clerics ruled. Women had to wear the hijab. Western influence was removed. Many celebrated, but others were afraid. Soon after, students took over the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. They held American diplomats hostage for 444 days. Relations with the West collapsed. Iran was no longer a kingdom or a client state. It was a revolution. And revolutions always bring both hope and fire. In 1980, Saddam Hussein, the dictator of Iraq, saw Iran in chaos. He invaded. What followed was one of the longest and deadliest wars of the 20th century. For 8 years, both nations bled. Chemical weapons were used, cities were destroyed, 1 million people died. But Iran did not fall. It resisted. It endured. And when the war ended in 1988, Iran was scarred, but still standing. Khomeini died in 1989. A new supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, took his place. Iran remained a theocracy, ruled by clerics, guided by Islamic law, but the world was changing again. In the early 2000s, Iran's nuclear program became global news. Western countries feared Iran was building a bomb. Sanctions were imposed. Iran said its program was peaceful, for energy, not weapons. The world didn't believe it. Economies suffered, inflation rose. Young people wanted jobs, they wanted freedom, they wanted change. In 2009, protests erupted again after a disputed election. The Green Movement was born. People cried in the streets, "Where is my vote?" But the government responded with force. Still, the hunger for change didn't disappear. In 2015, Iran signed a deal with world powers, agreeing to limit its nuclear program in exchange for lifting sanctions. Hope returned. Businesses opened. Diplomats smiled. But in 2018, the United States withdrew from the deal under President Trump. Sanctions returned. The economy collapsed again. Tension rose. Then, in 2020, a U.S. drone strike killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Crowds filled the streets in mourning. The risk of war returned. In recent years, a new wave of courage has risen in Iran. This time, led by women. In 2022, a young woman named Mahsa Amini died in police custody. She was arrested for not wearing her hijab correctly. Her death lit a fire across the country. Women cut their hair in protest. Men joined them. The slogan echoed everywhere. Women, life, freedom. The government responded with violence. Many were arrested, some were killed. But the movement did not die. Iran's people, especially its youth, continue to demand a future where freedom and faith can live side by side. A future where Iran is not ruled by fear, but by love, justice, and choice. Today, Iran is a country of contradictions. It has one of the youngest populations in the world, educated, connected, full of dreams. Yet it lives under strict rules, tight control, and deep economic pain. It is both ancient and modern, religious and rebellious, proud and wounded. It is a land of poets and protesters, scientists and saints, of deserts and roses. To understand Iran, you must look beyond politics. You must listen to its music, read its poetry, smell its spices, hear the prayers and the cries. Iran is not just a place on the map, it is a mirror, showing us what happens when power meets faith, when dreams are chained, and when people rise again and again to rewrite their destiny. And now, my friend, you have learned the story of Iran, a story carved in stone, written in blood, and sung in whispers. A land that has died 1,000 times and been reborn each time, more beautiful, more proud, and more determined to live. This is Iran, and its story is far from over.